Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back, guys. Justin here. As always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today to talk about Travis Scott's new movie, the Utopia visual album companion piece, Circus Maximus. This is a collective of sorts. The amount of filmmakers and talent that was brought together to make this thing happen is really surprising. Now, right off the rip, admittedly, I know next to nothing about Travis Scott, although I am aware of all of the controversy surrounding the tragedy that happened at that concert. I'm not really here to speak about that. I just simply don't know enough about the situation. And also, I don't know what was going on in Travis Scott's head in that moment. We've all, at least a lot of us, have seen that sort of ominous, creepy video of him singing that monotone tune as that lifeless body is being dragged across the crowd. I know when you're a big artist and you're playing to thousands and thousands and thousands of people all the time, you probably become accustomed to seeing exhausted people pass out, being carried off stage, but who's to say exactly how much knowledge he knew about what was actually happening? So I'm not really here to talk about that. I just wanted to at least acknowledge it so it wasn't that I was trying to ignore it. And also, I want to say at the beginning of this video, like I said, I know next to nothing about Travis Scott. If you played 10 of Travis Scott's biggest songs for me up until this movie, I could not tell you who sang it. What brought me into this is the filmmakers involved, because that's how I came to know about it. I came across an article on Billboard or Collider or something, kind of revolutionary visual artist, filmmakers with a very specific visual language, and the filmmakers brought together for this movie is absolutely insane. That's what put it on my radar. I had no idea this movie existed until yesterday or the day before, and it's playing exclusively at AMC theaters. Now, apparently there was some t-shirts that were supposed to be available for this movie. I didn't get one. I'm assuming the movie actually opened on Thursday, so I think the exclusive merch kind of went that way. This is also the most I've ever paid for a movie. I thought it was just a normal screening, but I got there and the ticket was $27 fucking dollars. Now, in my opinion, was this experience worth $27? I think maybe if every person who bought the ticket was able to maybe get that exclusive t-shirt, it would have been worth it. They're selling it for a shitload on eBay and OfferUp and all these different sites. But to me, $27 is a lot to ask for a special event movie. I've never paid that much to see a movie before. But let's go ahead and get into what this movie actually is, because it is a very interesting project. And after seeing it, although I don't like that I paid $27 for it, it was a really interesting experience and really cool experimental film that was able to be seen in theaters, which was awesome. Travis Scott just dropped his new album, Utopia. It has tons of features, a lot of people I am not familiar with, but I will talk about the music as well, because I was kind of blown away with how creative this whole project is. And I also hope this kind of sets a bigger trend for the visual album. There's been a lot of artists who have done this, but with the medium and how many outlets people have to express themselves through art and video mediums like YouTube and TikTok and all these different visual things, I hope we see more of this. One of my favorite bands, City and Color, just dropped a visual companion piece to their album where there's a music video for every single track on the album, and it almost plays like an hour-long film, and that's kind of what this is. So let's talk about all the filmmakers involved in this, and then I'll kind of break down the structure of the film. The talent in this film is just absolutely insane. All of the filmmakers involved: Gaspar Noé, Vladimir Johansson, Nicholas Winding Refn, Harmony Korine, and Khalil Joseph. Then you also have Rick Rubin. So this movie is basically kind of set up into two different parts. The beginning of the movie is the more abstract, kind of surrealistic, psychedelic journey that is composed of several kind of music video vignettes intercut with Travis Scott having these conversations with a Buddha-like Rick Rubin. I'm not a huge fan of Rick Rubin. I think this guy's kind of a douche. Maybe he's got some sort of amazing enlightenment that I'm just not in tune to, who knows. But as Rick Rubin sits in a chair with his hands on his knees, with his eyes closed, asking Travis Scott about his life and sort of being introspective, those little conversations are intercut in between these little music videos, which I found was cool. The openings in Iceland, he does some stuff in Africa, there's this really interesting neon car chase sequence, and these are all basically just music videos intercut with Rick Rubin. But for me, the best part of the movie is the last half, which is basically a concert film without an audience. It's like a filmed concert film that was filmed in Pompeii in Italy. This was filmed in the amphitheater of Pompeii. It's an absolutely stunning piece of architecture. I don't know how old this thing is, but they completely dressed this thing with thousands of strobe lights and effects, all of these interesting fog effects, and it's an incredible piece of concert footage, but there's no crowd. It's just Travis Scott and a couple of other musicians who come in here. Jacob Blake was a highlight for me, which was a really cool piece. Throughout the concert, he's being followed by this drone that almost resembles a spaceship with this spotlight, this massive, massive drone. And it was honestly an intoxicating watch. I brought me a little can of Keef and I drank that, and by the end of the movie, as the concert footage was really popping in, my Keef can was kicking in, and I was having this amazing cinematic experience watching this performance, and it was pretty incredible. As far as being able to tell who did the individual vignettes, like Gaspar Noé and Vladimir very clearly did the opening part that was done in Iceland, this amazing sequence as he's running across the beaches in Iceland and kind of gets attacked by this weird squid and emerges as somebody different than himself. You have Gaspar Noé, who did the clip for Modern Jam, which is, if you've seen Gaspar Noé's stuff, you know how like it's kind of a visual assault and overstimulation of neons and lights and LEDs, and that's kind of what this section is. I couldn't really tell you. There's so little information on this movie that I just don't know who did each individual clip. As in the credits, it does credit each vignette and each director, so if this ever gets some kind of a physical release or gets released on YouTube, it'll be easy to kind of pick out the clips. But overall, I found this to be an extremely interesting piece of filmmaking, a companion piece to the album Utopia, which as soon as I got out of the theater and I was driving home, I put it on, and it's a very creative album. I'm not too plugged in to rap and hip hop, but it feels to me like Travis Scott is doing something really different with these lush productions and these intricate pieces of compositions, and not just straight rap. There's a lot of different genres that are sort of pushed into this thing. It reminded me a lot of like early to mid 2000s Kanye stuff with these really lavish productions and not just beats, but compositions, which I really enjoy. I think this movie's really, really cool. Like I said, it's not really so much of a narrative. It's an experimental concert film. But if you're into this thing, if you're a fan of Travis Scott, or if you're a fan of any of these filmmakers, I think you're gonna get a lot out of it, at least for a one-time watch. I can definitely see myself putting this on in the background as like a visual medium while I'm like cleaning the house or arranging my collection or something. But it's a really cool, interesting project. I think this is playing through the weekend. I'm not sure how long this will be playing, but I believe it is exclusive to AMC theaters. So if you have an AMC around you and you want to check it out, it's worth it. Grab yourself some weed, get your buzz on, and go check out Circus Maximus by Travis Scott. If you guys have seen this or heard of it, let me know what you think. Also, drop your favorite film by any of these filmmakers. Gaspar Noé, Nicholas Winding Refn, Harmony Korine. Sound off your favorite project by those guys. Let me know your thoughts on Circus Maximus. And guys, I think we're done here. Stay weird. Remember to always be yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.